Welcome to the world headquarters of Euclid Ebenezer Training, broadcasting from somewhere partially underground on this continent. I entitled this teaching this afternoon, The Alphabet Song. If you'd like to follow along, you can open up to Psalm 119. It is the longest chapter in the Bible and the longest psalm. I got some information from this book here, The Gospel in Ancient Hebrew, Dr. Frank T. Seegans, published in '96 and 2002, and it has here the Hebrew alphabet, and then in ancient Hebrew, and then the modern Hebrew here, and some commentary on that word. I don't even know, it's been so many years since I heard this talk, I don't even know if this is still available. So, but if you want to see, I think most Bibles, I don't know if they still do, this is an old Bible, but starts out a section of the Psalm 119 with a letter in Hebrew, and then gives you the word picture with the verses that they correspond with the verses. So in Psalm 119, verses 1 through 8, Aleph, it was an ox head or a bull head. Verses 9 through 16 is the second letter in the Hebrew alphabet, Beth, which is a house. And then the third letter in the Hebrew alphabet, verses 17 through 24, Gamil, or a camel, which is the picture is a camel. And then word number 4, starting in verse 25 through verse 32, is Daleth, which the picture is a door. And then the fifth letter is Hey, which is a window or lattice. And in my Bible, each of these sections has the Hebrew letter there, and how to say the Hebrew letter. And then verse 6, letter number 6 is Vav, or nail, or I've heard this letter also said Wah. So verses 41 through 48, and then 49 is the seventh Hebrew letter, Zayin, or weapon. And then that's 49 through 56, and 57 through 64 is letter number 8, Cheth, fence. And then in verse 65, letter number 9 is Teth. The picture there is snake, verses 65 through 72. And verses 73 through 80 is Yod, which is hand. And verse 81 starts the 11th letter, Kaf, hand, or an open hand, or an arm, and verses 81 through 88. And then verse 12, letter 12 is Lamed, staff. And then starting in verse 97 is the 13th letter, Mem, water, is the picture. And then in 105 is the 14th letter, Nun, none, fish. And then in verse 113 is the 15th letter, Smock, prop. And then verse 121 is the 16th letter, Ayin. And then in 129, the 17th letter is P, or a mouth is the picture. On 137 is the 18th letter, Tazadad, fish or hook. Letter 19 in verse 145 starting is Kov, or back of the head as a picture. 153 in letter 20 is Rish, head. And then in verse 161 is letter Shin, teeth. And then the last letter, Tav, starting in 169, is a sign. A sign, a cross. I'm not really sure on the commentary there, but a sign, a cross. So when I look at a verse in the Torah, the Old Testament, I try to get out my interlinear, and I'm better in New Testament Greek than I am in the Hebrew. The Hebrew gives me a hard time, but we just went through the entire Hebrew alphabet. In that one chapter, I don't know, the newer Bibles, if they still do that, but most, especially the King James Bible, has that. If you get a King James Bible, you have the Hebrew alphabet. It's neat how it's divided into sections. And so I'll get a Hebrew interlinear, and I'll take a verse, and I'll break it down. I use another little tool. This tool, little itty bitty baby learns Hebrew. What it does is it takes all the letters of the Hebrew alphabet and it kind of squares them up, but it's a good introduction to get you used to writing that way. And then in the back, you have a summary and some help on how to say the letters. It's just a neat little tool I have to help with that language. So I just encourage everybody that Christians who may be writing this, listening to this, that we do have, unless you just carry a New Testament, and there's some people, I guess, going to rip out what the Christians call the Old Testament. They want to unhitch, but I'm not one of those. There's some things we don't do today that's filtered through the cross. Rick Godwin from the Eagles Nest in San Antonio, Texas, he made an excellent statement about what in the Old Testament still applies and what doesn't. And so there's a lot of debate about some verses there and what they all mean, but I believe if you study Psalm 119 and just learn the letters of the Hebrew alphabet, it would be a benefit to you as a Christian. And this little book, The Gospel in Ancient Hebrew, is really, I think, interesting, and I think it's neat. So, Lord, I just pray for everyone who views this thing. I know this is a really simple teaching, just telling about an alphabet in another language, but Lord, we all should try to study to the Old Testament and try to read, maybe not read Hebrew or get commentaries, or at least learn the Hebrew alphabet to help with our understanding of what is going on. Sometimes languages are not translated well, words are not well, and sometimes Christians say some things, and I've heard people who are experts in Hebrew just look at it like, why are you doing that? And so I just pray, Lord, that Christians, people in the church would put that on their list of things to do and to study And these two books I mentioned could, plus Psalm 119 with the Bible, with the Hebrew letters, those three tools could help every Christian to deepen their understanding of part of the Bible that most people are carrying around, and even though very few people maybe actually study it or use it except on a reading program, but not really dig in. Lord, I just pray that your Holy Spirit would inspire people to start studying that more and to understand that correctly, what we do and what we don't do anymore. Signing off from somewhere partially in the ground, and as Christians, I just encourage you to, in your churches, to study, maybe a Sunday school class on just Psalm 119 would be an interesting study. Signing off from somewhere partially on the ground, Euclid Ebenezer teacher, bid you good night.